Here's to a brand new series on an intimate look of self-publishing. Welcome to Pen to Paper. I'm Leah Lindeman, author of the Canadian Reminiscence series. And I meant to do this mini series that I'm going to be starting back in July. Just didn't happen. So I thought that August now, this month, is the perfect month to start this little mini series that I'm going to be beginning today. And this video is more of an intimate look of why I chose to self-publish. Now, if you're a new author wondering whether you should self-publish or traditionally publish, I actually have my first mini series on publishing that I did last year available for you to watch, and I'll put those at the end of this video that you could click on and listen to those. But I thought this would be a neat video to showcase my personal journey and my reasons for you to get to know me a little. And perhaps from my story and the reasons why I chose to self-publish, you will relate to, and perhaps this will help you make your decision whether you choose to self-publish or not. And if you are a writer already who has chosen to self-publish or traditionally publish, either way, perhaps this is a story you can relate to. Or if you're traditionally published, maybe you find this interesting to understand why people self-publish in the first place. So let me begin. I wrote my first book over a period of 6 years, and not just the first draft, but the whole editing process. And then I took a year off to study marketing and how that worked in general, understanding that whether you're self-published or not, or traditionally published, you have to market yourself either way. And that was actually a really big indicator or a big idea that helped me decide to self-publish. And I'll come back to that in a little bit. So when I finished my book, I believe it was 2016, I was trying to make this decision. And the first book I wrote, which is this one, Redeemed from the Ashes, is based on the Halifax explosion of 1917. So 2017 was going to be the 100th anniversary of that story. And it was very important for me to put it out in a timely fashion, timely manner that would coincide with the celebrations, or not celebration, but the remembrance of that event. And that was one big reason why I decided to self-publish. It was kind of like the beginning seed of why I decided to self-publish, because I knew that when you decide to self-publish, the time when you publish and when your book is ready is completely dependent on your time and how quickly and efficiently you work, and basically when you choose to put it out. With traditional publishing, that is not the case at all. And you're very much dependent on so many different factors of when your book is out on shelves. So that was kind of like the beginning seed of why I decided self-publishing is probably a good idea for me. At the time that I had written my book, I was starting to have this vision for a complete series. And a quick rundown of that is every book in my series is based on a different province or territory in Canada during a certain historical time period. So it's historical fiction. And I knew that I wanted to tell these stories my way and have that complete creative control. And just because you have complete creative control doesn't mean that your work has to suck. It doesn't mean that it has to be subpar. And I'm not saying that I'm excellent at everything, graphic design, editing. I do have very strong qualities or parts of the writing process and publishing that I'm strong in, but just because you're self-published doesn't mean that you can't enlist people who are very good at those jobs that you're not so great at. And you get to work with these people one-on-one and come up with a vision for how you want your book to be. It's a very intimate process with that other creator to put something together that fits with your vision. And I realized with all these books and all these stories, they were so close and dear to my heart, even though I don't even know all the scopes of all the stories that I want to tell. I just knew a few of them, just the beginning seeds of those stories in my heart. But I knew that I wanted that intimate process with my stories and with other creators. And so I decided for this series that I would self-publish. Now, not to say that I'm not open to traditional publishing for perhaps other books or other series that I really wish to write in the future. But for this project, this is the way I wanted to go. So that was kind of the defining moment that I realized this is what I'm doing. I'm self-publishing. Now, let me go back to marketing, which I mentioned at the beginning. That as a traditional publisher, or being traditionally published by a traditional publisher, your publisher expects you to have a base of fans and people following you and your work. And that you are expected to put in that time and that effort to cultivate that following. And it's basically the same for self-publishing too. If you want word of your book to get out, you need to cultivate those friendships with either book reviewers or people who are passionate about books and want to read and spread the word. And it's the same concept, but with greater freedoms. And that's why the marketing was kind of a null point for me. I knew that either way, I would have to put a lot of work into marketing my book. And I thought, well, why not do that in a way that I have greater freedom, I have greater control, and I can still have that intimate process of getting to know my fans and getting to know that base of people who could become passionate about my work. So let me get down the rundown. Timing, creative control, and marketing. I believe those are probably the three biggest reasons why I decided to self-publish. Obviously, when I decided to self-publish and actually go through the process, there were a lot of extras that perhaps I didn't realize I was getting from this, such as formatting a book. Definitely not my forte. I almost hate it. But thankfully, I have an excellent friend who is excellent at that, and she has been very gracious in literally formatting my book in 10 minutes compared to the weeks I spent trying to format my book perfectly. So that was definitely a blow in my confidence of being able to self-publish a book. But I got through it because I found someone who I could work with and could help me in that department. And then finding new passions along the way. It was a fun little side trail to self-publishing, like creating a book trailer, doing that for the day, finding the person for the cover, creating the cover with my photographer, and then having her put it together in a way that really went with my vision. So all these small aspects put together really has made the process worth it and surprising. And then, of course, you have to go through the process of putting it up on Amazon or Ingram Books, whatever you decide to choose. And that could take some time. It could be lengthy. It can be frustrating. But if you're patient with it and you're willing to put up with some inputting of information and doing your research and knowing how to input keywords and putting the genre code onto your book that's going to help your book be found in SEO, then it's worth it. It's worth it to self-publish. So that's my little journey of self-publishing. The next few videos I'm going to do over this month will be an in-depth look into perhaps mistakes that I've learned along the way and how much it really cost me to make these books. And I'm just really looking forward to sharing this with you and sharing my intimate personal story with you so that perhaps it could help you on your self-publishing journey. I hope that you will join for the rest of these little mini videos on this. So if you want to hear the rest, you can subscribe, and I will see you next week.